Bro, that's the funniest story, bro.
I
Oh,
never told you
I
about
don't
that,
no, well, it's
bro.
been a long time, but I don't know if we got to that part of that lady.
Now, I probably didn't say that story to you because, when I got back, H was already in your
Ah,
life, and I was,
yeah,
probably
yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
respectful and shit. Seeing as how this major, told me I was so disrespectful and shit, and had to call out the entire fucking
Oh
bay
wow.
in the middle of the night, the fucking shit,
Oh dear.
over this.
Wow. Well, I didn't get to say my spiel or my story, but you know my story pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and gloss over it though for the audience. I remember, that night that I left, actually. It was very lonely and dark. My mom made me my favorite meal, which is pollo guisado, as we Puerto Ricans say it. It's
Hmm.
chicken stew basically with like really good flavoring and it almost looks like a soup, and we put it on the rice and it's really good. And so I ate that, and then it was time to go, and I was really sad. I think my mom was more sad than anything. My mom and sister. I was more excited, nervous. I was feeling everything, right? So I remember going to the bus and
Hmm.
taking the bus to 149th Street and meeting up with the Mets folks, and we all stayed in a hotel with a bunch of guys. And then I remember all of a sudden,
You remember the
my
name?
Holiday Inn, I want to say, I'm not sure, but it was.
Pan
Is that the
American.
one? Because
No, that was the one that you stayed
oh,
in
okay,
Queens, on Queens Boulevard.
you remember better than I do.
You probably don't recall that Renee and I went to go pick you up at that
Yeah, yeah,
motel.
I don't, but but I kind of do. It's because it
Went to
was.
a
I
table.
think I had some time in the evening or something, and we went and hung out for a little bit. Is that
No, no. When you went to MEPS the first time, military entrance processing station, for those of you who don't know, and you're going to take your exams and all that stuff, you could not
right?
leave. But when you were through MEPS and you were going for your appointment, after dinner, you were free to go out so long as you made it onto the bus in the
Right. That
morning.
was okay. I remember that.
And that's when Renee and myself, we drove
Yeah.
out there to go get you, and we went to Titty
Yeah.
Bar.
Oh, is that where he that lady's nipple? Yeah. Yeah. I remember that night.
Yes. So I took his ass down to
Yeah.
Canada to
After
a Titty
that, yeah, it's
Bar.
like, dude, come on, man. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, respect,
I get my
respect, motherfucker, respect.
I get my
Shit.
my stories mixed up because I remember we were basically hanging with the homeboys one night, right? Like that movie, and that was a different night.
Yes,
So
right. That was me,
Devon,
you,
Tom,
Bob,
yeah,
Tom.
yep,
I think
I
Timothy
think
was
so.
with us. I
Yeah,
think, and
that was a fun
Stefan was
night,
with
man.
us, and we all squeezed in. That how pitiful was that, right? We
Yes,
were broke as motherfuckers, man. It was
and then there
around the
was like
40th
this
Street
25-cent
Times
peep
Square
show
area, and we went
or whatever it was.
exactly. I mean, and we put in a quarter, and all seven of us are squeezed into that little booth, trying to look
And here
good
we
and
are
slick,
just looking at these
yeah.
ladies, and they're just sitting there, naked, and or not naked, but they were like in scantily clad clothes. And at Devon says, so, aren't you guys gonna do something? Aren't you ladies gonna do something? We put our quarter in.
Dance for me, baby.
And the ladies to us, you guys are pitiful. It just costs a quarter.
I
Get
guess
your
they
own
wanted,
food.
they wanted more money.
Okay, and me. You're lucky it's three of y'all.
It's funny though, man. But anyway, back to boot camp. Because
I'm
it
sorry,
kind of
bro.
showed.
Go
No,
for it,
that's
man.
because
Go.
that how much fun I had growing up, and despite being from the gritty streets of the Bronx, in New York City, it was still there was some fun to be had by all. Yeah,
And it shows to our listeners too that you could have fun without getting into
exactly.
serious
Yeah,
trouble and shit.
exactly.
You don't have to do drugs. You don't have to get drunk.
Right.
You don't have to
And
do
we
any of
didn't.
that.
We just had fun.
God knows when we all piled into that little booth to look through that
People.
little 2 foot by 2 foot. It wasn't even foot. It was like 10 inches by 10
Yes,
inches of a peephole.
yes.
You know, all of us trying to get one in there. I remember I was complaining, "Damn it, it's my left eye. I don't see too good." You know,
Oh man. Right.
move
Move your
your
big ass head.
God damn, bro. You know.
So anyway, I remember getting to boot camp, right? And I remember it very well because that night there was about 40 other guys. And I remember it was cold as hell. I mean, it was cold. It was February in Great Lakes area. What was it? Waukegan in Illinois, like 40 miles north of
Illinois.
Chicago. Oh Lord, it was the middle of February. Well, actually, it was the beginning of February, and they issued us like ski masks and like these overalls or coveralls or whatever they call them. And man, I felt like we started marching, bro. Everywhere we went, we marched, right? And freaking ice on my nose because the snot was fucking freezing, bro. As it was dripped down to my mouth. And I know that sounds disgusting, but man, maybe the freezing was a good thing because it stopped like in between my nose and my mouth. and we had them ski masks, and I remember thinking, what the fuck did I just do with my life?
What the hell am I doing?
Like, this is crazy. I'd rather be in the Bronx getting shot up. Here I am marching with 40 other guys, right? And the reason I say 40 is because we had to wait. I think there was a mix-up. We were supposed to have 80 guys in one company, but I think the other 40 guys got stuck somewhere else or something. So we had to wait a couple of days till they got there. But anyway, they threw us in this room after we marched for like a mile. I don't remember how long it was. And we were all freezing, bro. And then they said, get naked, take your clothes off. And we were like, what?
Huh?
Like, what are you guys gonna do to us? Right? And we all just took our clothes off. And if you didn't do it, they'd be yelling at you. And the guys who are yelling at you are fucking E3s, bro. They're like E2s, E3s.
Huh?
And then they go, you guys are scared of the wrong people.
I got beat on, I got stripped butt naked, and you held out on me, man.
And we're like, what? There's more of you? there's worse people? And they said, now jump in the showers. So we had about 2 minutes to get through a shower, man. And all of us naked. You had to put whatever soap was there on your body, or just run through because you only had 2 minutes. And then they threw towels at us, and just as we came out, just towels. And we dried up, and we're standing there, put it around our waist, and they stand at attention, and we stand at attention, shivering, and and they say they're gonna, we have to put on our skivvies and shit like that, and then we have to go to bed, and they'll be back. Not them, but the company commander will be back in the morning. And I think it was like 10 o'clock at night, because that's what TAPS was. So TAPS, everybody's going to bed. We're like, thank God, right? And then 4 in the morning.
TAPS was at 11?
No, 10. Yeah, 10. I just felt like it was 11 or 12 at night, man. It was scary and dark. Yeah, it was 10 o'clock. And they said, TAPS, get to your bunks. I got the top bunk for some reason. I don't know why. And we slept. All of a sudden, I think it was like 3:30, 4 in the morning. You hear the banging of the trash can. It was like, it was crazy, bro. You know how they do in the military. So I did remember Full Metal Jacket at that point. But I was like, oh my God. And everybody just got so scared, and they said you had to go to the front of your bedpost and stand there at attention, and we're all scared as hell. And of course they make us dress up, and guess what we're doing? We're marching to breakfast. And that was the beginning of it all. And yeah, like I said, I think everybody there was thinking the same thing, and that was, what the fuck have I done.
What the fuck, man?
And then later I hear people saying, this ain't Great Lakes, it's Great Mistakes. and and so all of a sudden, man, you know, we're eating lunch. We have like 11 minutes to eat lunch or eat breakfast. I'm sorry. And then it's time to go marching again. I think I lost like 15, 20 pounds, bro. I remember coming back, you know, out of boot camp, and you said I looked great. Like I was toned, my thighs that were, and everything that was normally flabby looking was kind of, was in better shape. So, you know, that definitely was a good thing. But little did I know that it could get worse for me after boot camp. I graduated from boot camp, barely. I got to the aircraft carrier. I remember you came to my graduation in boot camp, by the way. I don't want to skip over that. You and my mom and my sister, and that was like the best time that I ever had, man. You know, when you guys came to visit. I appreciate that, by the way. I always do.
We've mentioned that already on a previous episode.
Yes.
And, you know, it was my pleasure and my honor to go and assist your graduation. Although I kind of wanted to hear your name out there, you know, not just you and your company or platoon marching around, you know. But I'll say that, you know, just let me interrupt you there for a second. You know, you said TAPS was at 10 o'clock.
Oh, really?
TAPS for us was at 9 o'clock.
That's different.
Yeah. Accountability formation was at 4 a.m. Or rather, I'm sorry, 4:30. 4:30 was Reveille, and accountability was at 4:45.
Oh, wow.
You know, in our case, you know, we were, I guess you can say, self-doers, where we would wake up. Now, this is going back to, you know, the reception station. But yes, we did have the trash can and the banging and all that stuff.
Yes.
You know, from time to time. But typically, that's how we would do. Now, regarding the showers, I also have a similar story. You know, in this case, you know, they left your hygiene up to you. However, you know, when people started to be funky, because, you know, a lot of guys feel some sort of way about being naked in front of other men, you know. And the showers, they have no stalls. It's just one big room with a whole bunch of pressure washers. You know, one kid that we used to call Cheech, he said, "Oh man, when I take in a shower, man, it feels like I'm going through a car wash." You know,
wow.
You know, and so there were quite a few of them, you know, that did not shower, did not brush their teeth, they didn't even wipe their asses right.
Oh, you nasty.
Yeah, so there was a bit of a stench. Now, luckily for me, on my little section of formation, I didn't have any such individuals. But as drill sergeants would walk up and down, they could smell them.
That's gross.
And so they did the exercise called heel to toe.
Well, they called ours nut to butt.
And then,
which was fucking gross.
They did heel to toe. Yeah, nut to butt is that would have been fucked up for us. Yeah. So what they did was they said the heel to toe.
Yeah.
You know, is one of the formations, and this is what you're waiting to go do something. I forgot what it was. Maybe it was shots or something. And they said, "We want you take a whiff of the guy in front of you and the guy behind you."
Oh, hell no!
And if you guys are not showered and clean smelling, then we're going to be doing shower drills. Shower drills, we said 2 minutes. For us, it was going to be 3 minutes. The first minute is to get wet, second minute is to lather up, and the third minute is to rinse off. But they said the shower drills would be heel to toe, butt naked.
No.
So one guy, I don't remember who, I think it was Hawaii. We called him Hawaii because he was from Hawaii.
Makes sense. Oh, what fun is there in making sense?
He just came out without thinking. He said, "Motherfucker, you better shower today."
Oh man, yeah, I ain't doing no heel to toe with you in the fucking shower naked. Oh man.
Hell no. You know, and so there were people like Slasher, for example. He had some sort of trauma with water. In fact, I remember that, in that very first instance where we had to shave, he didn't have a razor, and he didn't even have any hair to shave for. But I gave him one of my extra razors, and he was right next to me. And bro, I kid you not, man,
Really?
he was terrified to even shave, But because the drill sergeants were over there were like 4 or 5 of them, and they were all screaming and shit. And he took that razor, and bro, I kid you not, he was cutting up his face, bro.
I think this was more murdering in the face than we had actually intended, y'all.
Up his face because he didn't know how to shave. And I tried to tell him, and they told me, shut the fuck up.
Hey, shut the fuck up!
And I was like, okay. But I just said, I kind of whispered to him, just do what I'm doing. Don't do it like you're doing. Just watch me. I tried to help out with everyone. And
Just a good soldier never leaves a man behind.
And I guess maybe that's how I became Bay leader. But I was kind of voted in as being Bay leader.
Wow.
But go ahead, continue.
I was assigned to an aircraft carrier when I got out of boot camp. I was excited, and when I got there, this guy came out to get me, and he said, "I'm gonna take you to the aircraft." And later, I got to know the nicknames of it. It was the Shitty Kitty and the Gray Goose, depending on the mood, on the day or your mood, And he said, "Welcome to hell, kid."
Welcome to hell.
And I said, "Hell? What?"
Wait, what?
I thought I just came from hell. And of all the greetings he could have chosen, man, he chose "Welcome to hell." So he took my bag. We're walking, and we got to I remember it was June 23rd, 1994. And we got to the Shitty Kitty or the Gray Goose. And he wasn't wrong about hell, bro. I saw all these guys just running around in coveralls and just, I don't know what they were doing. I found out later it was like a drill that they were having, and I happened to be picked up at that same time that they were having a drill. Everybody had to get to general quarters, and that's what they were trying to do, is get to their, general quarters. And if you don't get there, you're in trouble, right? So they were rushing. Everybody was running around. I thought, what chaos is this shit? Like, what? Anyway, so he showed me where I'm gonna stay, all this stuff. But then I ended up, bro, the next day and every day after, man, it seemed like I had nothing but fights and arguments because everybody was so different. There's people from Kansas, people from Kentucky, where you're at. There's people from Mississippi. Never really got to know anybody from New York, the East Side. They probably heard about us, Philadelphia, all these places. Then you got the laid back California dudes who were totally different than the Midwesterns. So everybody had to get used to each other, and then cliques formed, and me, I've always been that type that is kind of like a loner. If I do click with someone, it's probably 1 or 2 people. In this case, it was Bones, right? And him and I just clicked and hit it off, and we've been friends ever since. But, I was always the type of guy that would go do my own thing and this and that. So I ended up getting in a lot of fights, arguments with people that kind of misunderstood me. I remember I wanted to understand why there were so many guys that, and maybe it's because I didn't have a dad growing up, but I felt like all these dudes want to be my dad. Like all they do is they want to tell me what to do and this and that. And I remember saying that to Bones, and Bones was like, you're in the military, right? Like, that's what they do. They tell you what to do. They're not trying to be your dad. And so he's always, ever since, been the voice of reason, whereas I was not. And you know me. And I totally took that whole Bronx attitude in with me after, but I didn't want to. It just kind of came out. I know you probably know about this, but I had drag out fights, bro. Physical fights, from grabbing a huge monkey wrench to fuck someone up, to almost breaking somebody's finger, to almost breaking somebody's jaw, to almost throwing someone down a hatch that was open, to telling my superiors to fuck off, no matter who they were.
You were just really angry.
Good times. But anyway, I digress. It was the best and the worst 2 years of my life. at the same time. It's so weird. And like I said, yeah, 2 years. I only did 2 years, but that 2 years seemed like 5, you know, the way it went for me. So by the time I got out, I was very, very happy. You remember that. Never wanted to go back. Then,
I do.
You know, I lived
and you
with
never
for a
wanted to
little
go
bit,
back.
and then got my own apartment. And then after about a year and a half of staying out and working at a frame shop, making like $7 an hour, I kind of missed it. And then I got this thing in the mail. It said something about National Guard. Do you speak Spanish? Come see us at the Army National Guard. I'm like, I speak Spanish.
Yo hablo español.
So I went, saw the recruiter. I think it was like November or something. And I joined the Army National Guard. That's what the Army taught me how to cook, be more organized. I think overall responsible. The whole military teaches you that. How to be on time and really before on time. And most of all, how to believe in yourself. And I believed in myself more after all those experiences. So I wouldn't change that. You know what I mean? And that was my experience.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember I had a totally different view of when you came back. You know, when you came back, oh yeah, no, you were way more mature. Way more mature. And
yes,
my aunt Edna, Tia Edna, I don't know if you remember her, Uncle G's wife. We went to my uncle's house in Brooklyn, and you had stepped away with my uncle. I think it was to go smoke a cigarette. And she turned to me. She said, "He's gotten so mature.
Nice.
You know, very handsome."
I like that part.
Yeah.
No, my mother actually saw a big change in me. The thing is, like, she saw good change and she saw what she thought was bad change as well. Well, I'll explain. The good change was that I came home and I wanted to be clean. I wanted to be organized. I wanted to even cook for her. And that was just blowing her mind. Like, who is this guy that they returned to me? So that was the good part. But then the bad part was that I acquired this different type of humor.
I do have a very particular set of skills I've acquired.
I didn't have before. It was a more mature humor. It was a more, I don't care that, this person thinks I'm this and that. I'm just going to laugh at this joke or say this joke. It was more crude, and she didn't like that part of me. But she did like the fact I came back more mature. Yeah, so I can see that. But I didn't know that about Aunt Edna. That's cool.
When I came back, I didn't tell Helen that I was coming back. And so I broke into the house. No, she wasn't really scared. Yeah. No, Helen, she's always nonchalant. Jane learned to spell attack. Hey, and so I used to whistle every day when I was arriving at home. So he knew I was arriving, and he would go to the door and he'd sit there and wait. And when I got there, you could see his ass just shaking away, right? But I gave my little 2 fingers command, and he sat down and he just stayed there quietly as I broke into my own house. And so
that's interesting.
The only thing that Helen noticed in me was that I washed dishes. That was the only thing, that I washed dishes. That's the only thing she noticed.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, we're going to go on a little break here, and nobody go anywhere. We'll be back and get into some DC stuff and movie, TV reviews, and all that good stuff.
All right, bro.
So we're back with, and let's jump into off the cuff stuff. My ODC stuff this week, unless you want to go first, bro, if you have anything.
No, go ahead. Well, go ahead. You got to give me time to think about it.
So my off the cuff stuff this week is a reminder to everybody to download the app called Lemur. It's the one that I've been talking about for the past podcast or two, or episode or two, I should say. If you're into audio and the enjoyment you get from podcasting or doing radio shows, DJing and what have you, you'll enjoy this social network called Lemur. It's a very cool place. It's got very cool people from all around the world, such as our guest that we had on today, which was Nick from the Coast Guard. And speaking of the Coast Guard and military in general, here's an interesting fact that I read sometime this past week. They're now the SEALs, the Navy SEALs, who we know, despite being very secretive, are probably the baddest special forces of all branches. That's just my opinion, but they're now open to women. Apparently this has been a thing for about 3 years or more, because back in February 2018, a female midshipman, she was the first one to attempt the program. She dropped out in February of 2018. So prior to that, they must have had this available to women, but that was the only woman.
How far did she make?
I don't know.
How far did she make?
I wish I knew that, and I'm going to see if I can look that up. But like I said, they're secretive, so they might not even have that information anymore.
Well, but I'll say this, bro. SEALs or underwater demolitions teams was something that I wanted to do, for the longest time, and like could not do due to my vision issues.
I always felt like you'd be a great SEAL, bro.
I still think so today too, just a blind one, but it's all right. Just don't give me a gun to shoot. That's all right.
Oh man.
Keep to my right. Don't go my left.
Just give you like commands, like 6 o'clock, brother. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Exactly. Just shoot, man.
Just shoot that
doesn't
direction.
matter, just shoot.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that the training is not just in BUDS. BUDS is basic underwater demolitions training, which is like boot camp all over again, but for, operators. And aside from that, then they have, advanced scuba. They have airborne training. HALO training. HALO stands for high altitude, low opening, which they're very famous for. They have amphibious operations training. I mean, to become a full-fledged SEAL, it's at least 2 to 3 years in the making.
Stand easy. Welcome to SEAL CRT Selection Program. You have volunteered for the most intensive military training known to man.
So when you say that she dropped out, you could drop out at any point.
Right.
The biggest dropouts are in the last week of BUDS.
60% of you will not pass this course. How do I know? Because that is an historical fact. Now for the bad news. I always like to get one quitter on the first day. And until I do, that first day does not end.
Which is normally referred to as Hell Week, where, recruits don't typically sleep more than 3 hours for the week.
No sleep till Brooklyn!
Wow. Yeah,
and, physical exertion, less intake of food and stuff like that.
Wow. That's rigorous, man. That's crazy. But which is why I call them the baddest special force, meaning the best. special forces. But yeah, I know there's badass women out there too, man, and I know a few of them, but they're a little older than I think the age limit goes to. But for all you badass women out there, this is your chance to prove that you're a badass. You probably already know it, but it'll be a great thing to do. I think serve your country and do it proudly with the Navy SEALs. But
well, now that you've said that, and I was waiting for you to finish that, I will remind you of a movie that came out, I believe, in the 90s with Demi Moore.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. G.I. Jane.
Master Chief?
Lieutenant, seek life elsewhere.
Suck my dick.
G.I. Jane, that's correct. G.I. Jane, and thank you, because I forgot the name of the damn movie.
That was a badass flick.
It was actually that was a pretty badass flick. Yes, and that whole movie was about it was Congress people playing politics and then applying pressure and making admirals' lives more difficult. But essentially what they did was they took a Navy ensign. I believe she was an ensign or a lieutenant. No, she was an ensign. And they got her to volunteer. She had to volunteer. It couldn't be an assignment. It had to be a voluntary thing, to go and stand up for women's rights and just prove that they can go through butts.
Right. And she
or rather that she can go.
She was tough, man.
Right. So I wonder if this didn't just start 3 years ago.
Maybe it was something that.
But it started a longer time ago, and now it's catching some limelight on.
Yeah, probably. I think you're right. Probably.
That'd be interesting to know.
So yeah, I'll probably do a little bit more research on that and see what I get. But I thought that was really cool. And now I want to also add to my off-the-cuff stuff, because as you know, it's random shit. So, which maybe I should have called it that, right? Random shit.
ODC
shit. Random shit. So I read this quote from a comedian named Bill Burr. I don't know if you ever heard of Bill Burr. He's one of my favorite comedians. Yeah,
I have.
He's one of my favorites, man. And I think he's like an Irish American, guy. So he curses a lot. I know a lot of people don't like cursing, but this rant that I'm about to do has some cursing in it. So hear me out. So the thing I read, it had me saying, "Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about,"
Yeah, boy.
So I'm gonna go ahead and read it. It was a quote that I found on Instagram. So it goes like this: Smoke weed, buy a gun, get an abortion, be gay, worship God, cut off your dick and buy some tits. Just shut the hell up about it. I'm pro just leaving people alone and minding their own business. Now that was supposedly a quote from Bill Burr. And if you know Bill Burr, it probably had more curse words in there, and they probably cleaned it up. But here's my thing. I preach this to my kids as well. If you ain't hurting nobody or yourself, and you're just enjoying what the fuck you're doing, fucking do it. Right? I mean, what do you think?
Right.
And then fuck what people have to say about it. Fuck how they feel. Right? Because at the end of the day, bro, you are doing it, not them, in your life. So it's your fucking life. Do what you want. That's like I said, as long as you ain't hurting nobody or yourself, why not? But then on the flip side of that, I say the same thing he does. Just shut the fuck up about it. Like, I don't want to hear it unless you and I know that we share that interest, right? Otherwise, you do you, motherfucker. Got me? Like,
well, if you recall, back in high school, that's what I was doing.
And that's why I think a lot of guys.
Now,
you were ahead of the curve.
granted that I did a lot.
The curve, I should say.
I did get hurt a lot.
Oh yeah. Are you talking about like when you burned yourself?
Yeah, neck break.
And all this stuff.
Yeah, when I burned my eye, and I don't know how many times I had a neck brace and a back brace.
It seemed like every week, bro, you were coming to school with something.
You know, my shoulders and my. I think Dr. Pruzansky, who was my doctor that used to patch me up, he must have had pretty much every section of my body in X-rays.
He could put it together and make a skeleton.
Head concussions. Yeah. I mean, head concussions. You know, usually you go to an ophthalmologist, you know, for glasses and, you know, check your eye pressure and stuff like that. You know, I went to an ophthalmologist also amongst that, you know, for a scratched / burned cornea. You know,
I remember that.
You know, and I had to wear an eye patch.
Drink up, me hearties, yo ho.
You know, and the worst part about it was having to try and show my face in school. Yeah, there was a time period. I don't remember if it was 10th grade or 11th grade. It almost seemed like every Monday I would come in with something.
That's what I was saying. Every week, man. You know, after every weekend,
left arm
we'd be like.
After that next week, it was, you know, a neck brace.
Back brace,
you know, the weekend after that.
Your finger, your head, everything. It was like, what the fuck?
Man, my knee brace, my wrist brace, my knee, my back. Oh, look, my wife is right here, and she's just laughing away, trying not to.
But I can tell you, it's true.
I'm red.
I seen it with my own eyes.
And then she's dying to say, no, you're just an old man. But, you know, I was like 15, 16, 17, you know.
One's age.
Sailing accidents, rock climbing accidents. Jesus Christ. Oh, chemistry project accidents. My face.
The extinguisher? You know. Was it the extinguisher that blew up in your face?
Yes, that was the extinguisher. Yes, the extinguisher issue. That's how I burned my eye, actually. And then my sister, who was like the closest thing to an adult in the house, you know, she was just laughing her ass off because, you know, my face was on fire, bro. Man. So I couldn't find water to you know, and, you know, I was like trying to push her out the way, and she pushed me, and I couldn't open my eyes, and I just found the toilet. So I dumped my head in there. You know, because and she cracking up, you know, and she, you know, couldn't help me and shit. I'm like, call 911, and she's just laughing away. Look, my wife now can't even hold it back. Look.
Yeah, man. Well, that reminds me of a story that I probably shouldn't tell, but I'm gonna share it anyway because you and I talked about it. But
go for it.
And I don't know, maybe other guys have done this, man. You know, I love hot sauce. I love things that are spicy. So I eat a lot of jalapenos. Matter of fact, my in-laws, they grow jalapenos, bro. And I am like in heaven.
Jalapeno. That's how you pronounce it.
I know how to pronounce it. I ordered fucking jalapeno.
Because I can get all the jalapenos I want and all that. So the other day, my wife and I decided we were going to make it into like powder form, you know? So we're like, the thing is we were supposed to wear gloves, and I totally forgot about the gloves, to be honest. And I just started cutting these things up, my wife and I, and just peeling away. You take out the seeds and, you know, put them on the dehydrator, and we're doing that. And at the end of it, I mean, it was probably like, I don't know how many jalapenos, maybe 100, maybe less. But we did a lot of them, and at the end, I was like, "Oh, this doesn't even have my hands burning or nothing." But I'm not going to touch my eyes because I know that, you know, it's gonna burn. So I totally forgot to wash my hands afterwards, and I had to go to the bathroom. And as you can imagine, bro, you know, a man has to hold the hose, right? I mean, you have to drain the lizard, but you have to hold the lizard, you know, and and my lizard, bro, just started burning.
Am I on fire? No, you're not on fire.
Burning, you know, right? Just burning with a capital BURNING. I was just, I was hopping around. I started going, hey, honey, I think I have a fire down there. And it was just, and I got into the part, I was in the bathroom and I just took all my clothes off and I decided to hop in the shower. I hopped in the shower thinking the water would do something for me. Well, that didn't do shit.
And I'll tell you what it probably was.
What? Oh, okay, good.
What made it hotter? With the shower. It's like my wife and I recently discovered, because I'm not big on jalapenos, but recently we've been doing some dishes with jalapenos, right? And it didn't seem to be that hot. It gave a little bit extra flavor, and it gave a little bit of a flair.
Not that bad,
but not that bad.
That's what I thought.
Until we warmed the shit up out of the food. And then it just seemed like it was out hot, the fire. Like a motherfucker.
Oh, man.
Bro, that brought out the fire.
I was in there in the shower, bro, just singing, "This dick is on fire." Oh, man. and my wife, like your sister, through our pain, was laughing. Although she did help me out, and she got me a cup of milk, a glass of milk, I should say, and I just, had to stick my dick in there, bro, because, because that's the only way that I was gonna feel some kind of relief, bro. Man, I never thought I would use milk that way, but yeah, it was something. It was an experience, bro, that I never want to experience again. By the way. Oh man, so
that's funny,
yeah, bro.
That is funny.
Funny
man.
to my kids and my wife, but not to me. Now I can laugh about it.
I've had similar experiences, with hot sauce. But I'm gonna mention like icy hot.
Oh, I've had experiences with Bengay.
Icy hot.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of similar to icy hot.
Damn, bro.
The only difference is that icy hot is just like the name says. It's either hot or icy.
Cold and hot at the same freaking time.
Well, yeah, man. It takes turns. First it gets to being cold, then it gets to being hot, then it gets to being cold.
Bro, who made that shit? Anyway, but
well, we're dumbasses, right?
Yeah.
But on the label, in my defense, on the label it just says for exterior use only.
I know. I told the story of Bengay to my cousin Melinda, and she was just like, "I gotta tell the world this story." So, she's like, "You dumbass, you put that shit on your dick." And I'm like, "No, I was putting it on my thigh, see." And I happened to wash my hands after, but I had some on my hands, and I never knew. Who knew Bengay would fucking burn the fuck out of my balls? So that's what happened. And I was running around. The funniest part about it was Tegan was alive at this time. And for those of you who don't know who Tegan was, that was my dog, my black lab. And she thought I was playing, bro. Like I was hopping up and down the hallway because my balls were on fire. And or at least they felt that way. And this dog was trying to chase me. And I don't know what, bite my balls or something, lick them, I don't know. And I was just like, stop it, go away. And I was fighting the dog and my balls on fire. So that was like, maybe 4 years or 5 years ago. That's when I lived in Maryland. Anyway, but now that I got all that shit off my chest, I just want to remind everybody, email us at offthecuffpodcast and that's OFF as in Frank, D as in David, A, C as in cat, UFF as in Frank, podcast @gmail.com. You have no excuse. Drop us a line, or two. whether it be a comment about something you don't like, maybe like my cussing, what you do like, a suggestion, comment, anything your heart desires. I'm sure Ulika wants to hear from you too. And if you prefer,
yes, I do. But
I was gonna say if they prefer to do Anchor, they can download Anchor on their phones and leave us a voice recorded message right on the app itself, and we'd love to hear from you.
And you get to get yourself on a
'Cause
podcast.
I can play it, unless you tell me not to. Then you're a party pooper.
Right. There you go. So now I would like to add to
Off
the
the cuff
ODC,
Oh,
random shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just like that random shit better. I'd like to add, I'd like to have a follow-up. I don't know if the emailer that we addressed last week, with playing devil's advocate and how much other shit that you had me talking about.
Satisfied.
If the emailer had anything to say about that.
I heard from her again, and she said, or actually, I asked her. I said, did we answer your questions? And she said, no, but you two are funny as hell. I think we answered her questions. I appreciate telling us we're funny, but
I thought we gave her a lot to think about.
I think you did a great job, and I think I did a pretty good job on it. So I don't know.
I think we offered lots of different points for the emailer to consider in that statement that was made in her email. How times have changed, how technologies affect our current life, and how convenient stuff is, and how, the times have changed where, we're not even going outside to play anymore as kids,
Yep.
Me personally, getting older, I still like toys. They're just bigger.
I mean, I don't know how much more we could have said, but
like when I bought a remote control boat, to go in Central Park in that little pond. And now I don't want a remote control boat. I want a real boat.
You get older, the toys get bigger. Yep.
But I on other off the cuff random shit, I really did enjoy talking with Nick. He had mentioned stuff to me that I had no clue about, which kind of made me feel like I'm not up to date, such as, the Coast Guard not being part of the Department of Transportation anymore, and now part of, Homeland Security.
Well, I think,
which is rather interesting. And then also those Mayday calls where they give them fines and sue the hell out of people for, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Unbelievable.
I think you impressed them though a little bit.
That should send a clear message.
I think you impressed them at one point.
You do?
How? Oh, because you kind of
by being a
had a lot of knowledge on Sea Explorers and a lot of the things that I was listening back to it, and he kind of went, oh, like cool. And then when you were kind of almost defending the Coast Guard, saying, there's a lot of things that people don't know about the Coast Guard, that they do. So I thought that was cool. I thought it was a great interview, and I'd love to have him back. Nick from Voice Spark. Yeah. And if you want to check out his podcast too, that'd be great. It's basically talking about Alexa and all the commands that people don't really know about. And I think he kind of exposes all that. So in a good way.
Yes. I forgot what he called it, but they're similar to apps, but they're like extensions of some sort, which I did not know were available. Jeffrey, my son,
I remember.
Jeffrey,
I didn't want to say anything. And we used to sing that song, Jeffrey, my song.
Jeffrey, my song.
My dad had that thick accent. So anyway.
Take it easy when you talk to me, okay?
Oh, man.
Well, son, has a bunch of different issues aside from being special needs, and he's got learning disabilities and some other stuff. And so my uncle Hilario, which I affectionately refer to as Uncle H, just like my uncle Gonzalo, I refer to him as Uncle G. He gave him an Alexa tablet. And the reason for Alexa versus, any other tablet is because, well, you could talk to him. Well, not him, but her.
Yeah. Right.
I think Alexa's a her. And so, with his speech impediment and everything, sometimes Alexa doesn't understand what he's saying, And so you hear him talking, kind of mumbling where, he's might be in the other room, but you hear Alexa responding back, "I'm sorry, I don't know how to help you with that." Or, "I'm sorry, I do not understand." And then he gets frustrated and he says, "Alexa!
Yeah.
Alexa!"
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And I found it interesting when he was mentioning that. That's something I'm going to have to look into, or maybe even contact him at a later point and pick his brain to see, these extensions that he was talking about, because he said that there were like 130,000 different extensions or something like that, and that he and his group, they did about 300 of them. So that's a lot of freaking extensions, man. And why not check him out?
So he's on YouTube. So if you go to Voice Spark Live, I think you can find him. His name is Nick. And I think he's got a guy named AJ on there, AJ and Nick, and probably another guy, but I don't remember the name. I think it's time for. Go ahead.
On other.
Random
hold on,
shit.
on other. OCD. Yeah.
Let's just call it
ODC.
Yeah,
OCD. ODC random shit. My pup, Roxy, who was a German Shepherd, perhaps maybe mixed with something else, that we rescued, Wanda and I. She was, death was upon her when we got her, and we nursed her up to health and gave her good food and everything. And she's a very well-mannered dog for the most part. And she and our other pup, Bear, who is a Saint Bernard mixed with Lab and I think Boxer, they had puppies, She came into her first heat, and I was paying attention to Jeffrey and didn't pay attention to what I was doing, and I let Bear outside with her.
They were like,
and next thing I know, they're locked
getting
together.
it on.
And she got pregnant. So she had a litter of 9. One of them didn't make it, but the other 8 look healthy, and they're growing steadily every day. And right now, my wife is rubbing this little brown one that's like a two-tone kind of brown colored one, and she just rubs their heads and their chests and stuff, and they just seem to love it. She's having a good time because they're starting to open up their eyes now.
Man,
too.
I can't wait to see that. All right. I just want to remind you all that you can send in your own suggestions and comments anytime at offthecuffpodcast@gmail.com. That's OFFDACUFF podcast@gmail.com. Ulika, you can go ahead and take us to break, buddy.
And a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever wanted to make your own podcast? Anchor can help. It's free. The creation tools allow you to record and edit right off your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from it too, with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
And here we go.
Are you the keymaster?
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
This baby hits 88 miles per hour. They're gonna see some serious shit.
And we're about to hit the badass flick or just pure shit. And then we got shout out.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a flick this week?
You
said you wanted to have a pure shit one.
There was one that I watched, which I was astonished about. It's called Sneakerheads. It's a documentary. Have you seen that?
I started watching it and I thought, what
Yes,
is
that's
this
exactly
crap?
how I felt about it. I kept turning all the time to my wife. I said, "Honey, do people actually do this shit?" Then I started
Yeah,
thinking about my who's 16 years old. The soccer player dude. And how he's like fanatical over sneakers. And to me, that was just there was an incident here at the house where Jeffrey ripped off a tag that said Nike on it or something off of these new sneakers that he got, and he put a stick off of that. It's just too much. It's too much, I think. But I guess to each their own, right?
Yeah. Was it pretty crappy though, the whole thing? Because I didn't finish watching it.
It was one of those things that it was crappy, but I couldn't stop watching it.
Right. It's like, what's gonna happen next in this
It was
crappy-ass
actually
movie?
funny. It was actually pretty funny. And in a way, it was all about business. And these characters are basically chasing down a ghost sneaker. They call it the one, I think it is, or something like that. Or number ones, or something like that. Or zeros. My wife just corrected me. Zeros. Now, when they found it, I mean, it just looked like a plain old white sneaker, bro. I mean, like the shit that the cheapest shit that you can find.
Right.
But the people go ballistic over this, and I guess I get it. I mean, sneakers are a big thing for a lot of people. Me myself, when I was in high school, I didn't really care for Nike. I was an Asics guy. But yeah. So if I have to give it stars, I'd say probably because it was funny. So to that, I'll give them some credit. It did make me kind of, I got into it because of, I couldn't believe how much, this stuff actually happens. And, if it wasn't for my son, I'd probably think that this was all fiction, But apparently it's
true.
Yeah, apparently so. I mean, I didn't ask my son anything, but, apparently it was,
Right.
My
So
kids
how many
loved it.
stars?
I'd say 3. I'm not, maybe
Not
2.5.
bad.
It's a 50-50 type of thing. I didn't think it was
Like I said, I didn't see the
horrible,
whole thing, so.
but I did get into the storyline. The actors were pretty decent. I just couldn't get behind the whole motivation of the storyline.
Well, just a little tidbit about that movie. One of the lead characters, I think it was the guy with the afro, kind of chubby guy. He is Biggie Small's son.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
That's Biggie Small's son, huh?
Yep, with Faith Evans, and his name is Christopher Wallace. I think it's Christopher Wallace Jr. So, because that was Biggie's name. Yeah. So he tried his hand at what his dad did so well, but he didn't do it so well. And I think maybe acting might be for him. Who knows? So.
I didn't think he was particularly a bad actor. I thought he was pretty good in his role. He looked natural in the camera because there's just some people that don't look natural at all.
Yeah.
And they have to work at
like
it.
They're trying too hard. Yeah.
Right. Like Will Smith, when he started, he looked like he was trying too hard. The Rock, he looked like he was trying too hard when he started. Ice Cube, same thing.
Yeah. And he's gotten a lot better. So, but and speaking of actresses, that's what I'm going to talk about, actors and actresses too, in the next review that I do. But go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but all of them kind of became really good, and it was enjoyable to see them grow, to the actors that they are today.
For sure, yeah, man. I really love Will Smith movies, man. Will Smith movies, The Rock. I mean, so they've become way
Queen
more.
Latifah, since you mentioned actresses, Queen Latifah. That was another one that went from rap or hip hop to Hollywood, the big screen.
And actually,
and at first she really didn't know how to act well.
Right.
But I think I got a different perspective on her when she changed her usual roles, and she did that movie with it's not Steve Martin, it's Martin.
Yeah, she did one with Steve Martin.
Oh, was it
It
Steve
was Steve
Martin?
Martin.
Okay, it was
Yeah,
Steve
you're talking
Martin.
about
Yeah.
God, it was something House.
Or something like that.
Bringing Down the
Yeah,
House,
that
I
one.
think it was called.
Bringing Down the House. There you go.
Yeah, she was good. Yeah,
Yeah, she
that
was
whole
good
thing
there.
was
Yeah.
funny. I like that movie. Matter of fact, I might
Yeah.
put that on for my kids. That was a good one. We actually saw
Yep.
Pure Luck again. That movie that
Oh,
with Martin Short. Yeah,
okay.
I got nostalgia, man. I'm like, yeah, I love this movie. It's from the 90s. I think it was like
Yeah, for me, I
94 when it came
wanted to watch Captain Ron again, but my wife said, "Oh shit, not again."
out.
No, you're not watching. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm
I
not one to.
followed up, but one of these days I'm just gonna put it on.
I'm kind of like
Deal with
I'm
it.
kind of like Wanda that way too. I don't like to watch movies over and over from way back. Like my wife does that with 80s movies, 90s movies, and that's great if it was a good movie, right? But not every movie, like But and so when I see her watching it, I'm like, oh shit, not again this damn movie. So she goes, just go in your room and watch your damn sports. So But anyways, I'm gonna say my movie is called Lost Girls. And speaking of good actresses and true stories and actors, this movie was kind of like Gone Baby Gone, that movie that Casey Affleck directed, but Lost Girls was directed by Ben. So it's kind of like the same Ben Affleck. It's kind of like the same story almost, but they're true stories.
I heard you say Bam. I was like, who's Bam?
Ben. But Lost Girls was a true story. I think Gone Baby Gone was a made up story. So, but it was about a missing daughter of a woman in a small town. And we all know small towns, everybody talks and everybody kind of knows things, but they don't want to say it because they know these people and they're afraid and whatever. So in Lost Girls, the story is the lady's daughter was a prostitute. And of course, she didn't like when they said she was a prostitute, she would say, she's just working. And she didn't agree with her daughter's decisions, But one night, I guess she disappeared. I mean, and she didn't answer her phone, all this stuff. So the mother became very desperate because the cops didn't seem to be doing anything. Like they knew about it. And they basically told her, oh, we can't find her. And she's like, well, you guys didn't even try. My daughter's still out there and I want to know where she is. I want to know if she's dead. I want to know how she died. I want to know, you guys are cops. You're supposed to be doing this. Well, it turns out, and I'm not going to ruin it, but, well, maybe
Can I guess?
Maybe I will.
Can I guess?
So spoiler alert for those. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess the ending.
Okay, try to guess.
It turns out that it was one of the law enforcement individuals that had something to do with her disappearance.
That would probably be like a Hollywood ending, wouldn't it? Like.
Well, shit like that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does happen. But no, that's not what I was going to say. No. It is a sad movie, though, because basically she becomes so desperate, bro, that what's the word? Enthralls, like takes over the mother's life. And she just becomes, she has another daughter, but she doesn't really pay attention to that daughter that much. And she kind of tries, but this is like eating her up. Like just, and you can imagine when one of your kids go missing and you don't know, especially a daughter.
I was just about to, play devil's advocate and say, hey, can you imagine that type of shit?
Right.
Would you be able to, continue with life as usual? That'd be horrible. That's a horrific thing, in my opinion.
So I'll give it a 9. I mean, I'm sorry, I'll give it a 5, because the acting was awesome. Like I said, it's a sad movie. So if you want to watch a sad movie, unfortunately, like I said, I might be spoiling this for you a little bit, but unfortunately the police probably put this, missing case file on a back burner so many times that they lost track of what was going on. And it led to when the mother,
pressured them into solving the case. It led to the police finding out that this was connected to an unsolved case or unsolved cases of murdered sex workers. So it's a really good movie. Check it out. It's called Lost Girls. And Amy Ryan is the one who plays the mother, and she is phenomenal in this. She has a badass personality in it. It's awesome. So I loved it, even though it was a sad movie. So now I'm going to go to shout out. And my shout out today goes out to my aunt. I used to say aunt. Now I say aunt. Whatever. My aunt and godmother, Rosa, who's having a tough go at things at the moment. Hang in there, Titi. God will take care of you. You know that. And I love you. We love you. We miss you. There's no doubt you are one of the people that I always add in my prayers. And we love you dearly. We love you dearly. Remember that. That'll do it for us here at Off the Cuff. We'd like to once again thank Nick from Voice Spark Live for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you on. I hope you enjoyed it, my man. Hope to have you back on again. Take care, everyone, and have a great rest of your week. And you know what? As always, stay safe, stay healthy, don't eat too much pussy, and listen to ODC, damn it. Peace.